Jeffrey Dahmer, you know him, you love him. Well, it definitely seems that way because it turns out that Jeffrey Dahmer costumes have been banned on eBay. Are you surprised? I'm definitely not. I've had enough with this Jeffrey Dahmer business. That's all I'm saying. There's people dressing their kids up as Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, that's just wrong. They probably don't even know who that person is, so that's some sick thing from the parents there. But this guy is a horrific killer. Like, he didn't just kill people, he ate them. He ate them, okay? And I think that Netflix really has a big role to play here in putting this guy in the center of pop culture and creating this kind of weird aura around him that is currently standing right now. He's not like Michael Myers or Hannibal Lecter. He is an actual real person. And this is where I think that the true crime world that is so popular now on Netflix meets the drama world like Breaking Bad or something like that. I think there's a big issue. Now, I'm all for when they make a documentary about a murder case or something like that, telling the story that this kind of thing happens. It's a big, big, scary world out there. But when they turn it into a drama, I think, who are they doing this for? It's entertainment purposes. I think a lot of the time they'd say, oh, it's do the story justice for the victims. And it's like, really? This story's been told before. This isn't the first time. I think this is like the 12th time or something like that this Jeffrey Dahmer story has been explored. So who are you really doing it for? The fact that the costume's even on eBay to start with, and then they've had to ban them, it just shows that how many people are actually going as Dahmer. Last year, Squid Game was popular. Before that, Tiger King was popular. Very different to this scenario. He ate people. He literally ate people. I mean, the bloke was called the Milwaukee Monster. What more do you want? Now, I get that they're trying to paint him as a monster, but I just think in this sense of this drama, it's like, I think people don't see the line between what's real and what's not with these shows. And when you kind of blend it with a documentary as well, it's like, it's a sticky road. And I'm not one to be a buzzkill for Halloween. Dress up as who you want. Michael Myers, Hannibal Lecter, dress up as Andrew Tate if you want. Hey, power to the people. When you dress up as a real life killer, I think it's a bit disrespectful to the victims and the families of the victims. And this is where I've got a problem with Netflix. It seems that half the content on Netflix these days is some kind of true crime, murder porn fiasco. A few years ago, Don't Fuck With Cats was released, and that was following the story of Luca Magnotta, who was this kind of self-obsessed, don't catch me if you can kind of guy, who was obsessed with fame. And they really highlighted the fact that he wanted to be famous and created all these accounts about himself and a web of lies, should we say. The fact that he wanted to be famous, he was a serial killer, and they've given him that fame. I just think it's like, why are you doing that? Like, you know what you're doing. And the whole basis of that documentary series was don't fuck with cats, not don't kill people. Like, what message are you trying to say here? Come on. And I'm not one to speak for the victims, should we say, or speak for the victims' families. There's actually been a lot of negative press around this, and a lot of people have made the same criticism that I'm making now. The father of Jeffrey Dahmer himself is actually looking to sue Netflix because of the way that they've handled this whole situation. Now, Dahmer himself is played by Evan Peters, who was a big actor in the series American Horror Story. Now, I quite liked some of them series. I didn't think they were too bad. Probably because they were fictional. Oh wait, actually no, I've just found out that they are not fictional, they're based on true events. Never mind. With Jeffrey Dahmer, the fact that it was so many people that died, the horrific way that he treated the bodies, his own mental state himself, like, was just so, I don't know, dark, should we say, that I don't see why a producer would see that and just automatically think, let's explore this. Let's put this guy on a pedestal. Let's put him not only on a pedestal, but let's put him on one of the biggest series of the time in front of all these eyes. And I don't think a lot of people make the connection sometimes that between fiction and non-fiction, and especially for younger people. I've seen some of the reactions online on social media about this is wild. Now, I'm talking wild. There's accounts that are devoted to kind of sexualizing Jeffrey Dahmer and painting him as like an attractive figure, or feeling sorry for Jeffrey Dahmer and saying that it wasn't his fault. And that's mental. Like, that's crazy. I'm not getting on board with that whatsoever. Just imagine your family member was horrifically killed, and then Netflix, a couple years later, they're like, we got a story. We got a little bit of a story here. And it's like, imagine everyone you know is talking about it and resurfacing it and bringing it back to light. And it's just like, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want any of that. Like, that's crazy. It was so jaw-dropping that it really happened, that it felt important to be respectful to the victims' families, to try and tell the story as authentically as we could. The problem with this series, and when films try and do justice to the subject matter, that works if it's fucking Harry Potter, because it's a book, it's fiction. With this, the more close you are to the authentic reality that happened, the more likely you are to bring up trauma of actual events. Now, I've seen some side-by-side comparisons of the one of the victims' families reacting in court to Jeffrey Dahmer when the whole insanity plea is happening, and it's strikingly accurate to how it was in real life. Now, if you were that person, that is going to be horrific to you. Probably one of the worst moments of your life, and it's on one of the biggest series in the world, being shown to everyone for entertainment just before Halloween. And now they've given Jeffrey Dahmer, this character, massive prevalence within our popular culture yet again. Like, this story has been told before, so why are you bringing it to surface again? Treating it like the next Avengers sequel or the new Batman. Like, why is it that playing a horrific serial killer is a good role and there's all this funding behind exploring this story? I don't know. There's just something that is a bit sick to me about this whole thing. But again, big fan of horror. I'm trying to get my girlfriend to go and see Smile with me. She's not down. To conclude, I think that the fascination with serial killers in today's society is very strange. Nothing new, because I think that naturally killing is such a universal evil and universally accepted as morally wrong, that someone that is pushed to not just kill once but multiple times in an unprovoked sort of way is interesting as a story to explore. And that's why I said, documentary, fine, explore it. But to dramatize it and make this series and like the music, and I just think it like paints it in a way that's just a little too putting this serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer on a pedestal and like putting his character up there in a sense of this Halloween villain. Who are you really doing it for other than to make a banger Netflix show? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, what are we doing here? It's strange for me to have a reaction like this because I'm such a horror fan. And don't get me wrong, I think most horror films are bad. It's hard to make a good one. But I just think it's weird how much people are obsessed with true crime these days. And the social media reaction to this is just gross. Like, people like, obviously you get people cracking jokes and I get that, but the extent to this one with like all the tweets and like everything surrounding it is just made me think like, I don't know, weird ones with the gang. But yeah, what are you dressing up as on Halloween? I don't have a costume yet. A couple years ago I went as 6ix9ine, but I don't really know. I don't really think I can top that, but we'll see how it goes.